All right, good afternoon. Good afternoon, people. This is Eric, the real advocate. You know, I have to come on and share some things from time to time. However, I just needed to share one bit of information, okay? And I wanted to get your input on this. So the comment section is open. You know, we hear about branding and um, getting things out there that's popular. How about building our brand, our dad brand again, and not how you think. Okay, really not how you think. I don't want it to be like merchandising and everything. How about just presenting yourself in another fashion to whereas you see it and you're trying to get others to see it. Okay. Now, when I talk like that, I mean just as far as the courts, as far as your child's parent, or just maybe your child his or herself. Okay. Now, when I specifically talk about building your dad brand, I want you to think about it. I need you to be honest with yourselves, and if we want this to happen, okay, be honest. Take some time to look inside yourself and say, well, hey, you know, I can do some things better. I can try to get some things done. I can really do what I need to do to set out to be the best dad that I can. Also, I want you to think about we have to be willing to call an audible if something goes wrong. I'm gonna go off of football. Sometimes when a quarterback sets underneath for that center and he sees how the defense is set up or may be set up, they'll call an audible for either that running back or that tailback to get more involved, or they'll want their wide receivers to go left or go right or go inside. All right. We have to be willing to do that if we're going to build our successful brand. And the reason why I say that is this: the courts don't care. Okay. When we see that they're on a mission, okay, they're on a mission to basically destroy our brand. Okay. They're basically on a mission to stop us from being productive. Now, they may say that they're not. Okay. They may say that they're not. However, I want you to look at something. They're not giving fathers their real physical custody rights. I didn't say legal, I said physical. Okay. Because legal don't really mean anything. Okay. The actual physical custody that a father wants. Okay. And sometimes fathers, when y'all look at y'all orders, y'all see that it says joint legal custody. Legal just means that they're letting you go see the information that you are entitled to see, such as school records, such as medical records. Okay. So how are you going to allow me something that's already my right to see anyway? Now, uh, and that brings me to point number three. Okay. We have to rely on ourselves more to get help when putting together our plan. And what I mean by that is this: don't be afraid to, or don't be so hold off or stand by us not to ask for help from somebody, especially a father who you see. You may not always know who you see who have gone through this whole process and is now doing what needs to be done. You'll be surprised. Okay. Fathers who've gone through this, fathers who have put themselves out there and they have really made an impact, okay? In spite of, and I'm gonna say it again, in spite of the courts and what they say and their recommendations. Now, I can see this being especially important for fathers who are um, basically incarcerated, coming off of incarceration, like in a pre release center, or fathers who have just been alienated from their children from time to time. Okay. And I'm going to say court appointed alienation. All right. And I'm able to talk about that. I'm able to speak about that because I have been a father who was court appointed alienated from my child. Okay. However, I went back and I produced documents like I like to have fathers do, produce documents to say, well, hey, you can't do that to me. All right. Now, one of the last points I want to bring up when we were talking about rebranding or building your dad brand. Um, excuse me. I believe it's the first weekend in May that we're set to have our fatherhood combo sessions. Okay, I mentioned it 2 weeks ago. I mentioned it 2 weeks ago, and I got the approval, and we're going to start in May. Hopefully we're going to start in May 2nd. Okay. Now, this is free. It doesn't cost you anything. But here's the caveat to that. I'm talking about building your dad brand. But, but I'm also asking for the grandparents to come in as well. All right. And the reason why I say the grandparents and mothers, I don't want you to think I'm bashing y'all. However, you do know that there are some mothers that are out there that keeps the child away from the father unwillingly. The mothers keep the child away from the grandparents unwillingly. All right. The grandparents ain't got nothing to do with it. Okay. They just happen to have created the person that you're angry with. Okay. But do you know that in Maryland family law, there is a special point in there that talks about grandparents and having access. Okay. Yeah, you may say no, you don't want to have that grandparent to have that access, but you gotta have a reason why that grandparent shouldn't have access. So grandparents, just like dads, I want you to come to that session in May that I'm going to talk about, that we're going to publicize, and we're going to talk about how you want your court papers to look, okay? Or your letter to look to that mother to talk about, hey, I want access to my grandchild. I want access to my child. All right? That's that. Okay. Now, I want you to really think about something, fathers and grandparents. Okay. Let's stop playing checkers when they are playing chess when it comes to our rights. Okay. Let me read that again. Let's stop playing checkers when they're playing chess when it comes to our rights. And what I mean by that is this: they're doing this at a calculated time. Okay. And then sometimes they have the courts working with them. Okay. That does not mean that we can't do what's necessary on our end to make things right. Okay. Um, and I want to say this to the older fathers that are out there. I want you to come down there to the Fatherhood Convo session in May as well, if you want to add something to this. Okay, we're not going to stream this first session. Okay, we're not going to stream it. It's going to be live in at the Vulcan Blazers. Okay, so you have to be willing to come out and be there. Now, here it is. We got this fatherhood convo session with the grandparents being there. And sure, we want mothers to come in to say what they want, okay, and how they want to work with the father, okay. It's not a gripe session. It's not a gripe session, okay. It's a coming together session, okay. Everyone needs to be involved for the best interest of that child. Now, take it to the very last point within these last few minutes. How the real advocate slash winner strategy is trying to build something for everybody. Okay. I'm not asking for money. No, we're not. We're not asking for money. But what we are asking for is your time and talent. Okay. Because we have we do fundraising at the stadium where we uh earn money. Okay, to do things for fathers, to do things for the children. Okay. Um, we want you to come down, volunteer with us at our stand. We uh we were there for opening day yesterday. We had fun. We had a few people not show, but we made it work for us. So please come down or reach out to us so you can think about coming and volunteering with us. Okay. Um, this is working for our children. Now, the very last part I want to mention is this: cycling for dads. All right, cycling for dads is I've decided to make this a really valiant effort. Okay, I talked with my wife. Um, she's okay with it. Um, I want to, and I put in for vacation time. I got to see if it was approved. I want to start on Father's Day. I want to start a I want to do a 5-day session, 5-day cycling session. Okay. My plan is to complete 125 miles a day. Okay. It'll take me 4 days to get up to 500 miles. Okay. I'm going to go from Baltimore to Richmond. I'm an avid cyclist. Yes, I am. Okay. So I believe I know I can do this. All right, I've been starting to train now. I go to the cycles at Planet Fitness, not the ones on the machine. I get on the actual cycles. Um, I've done 50, 35, 25. My plan and my workout regimen starts for 3 weeks. I'm doing 5 days of 25. Okay. If I miss a day, I just add on the miles that I missed to the next time. Okay. That means I get up early, I go cycle, and it helps me with my blood pressure because being an older man, my blood pressure is up there, especially dealing with stress from work and everything. Okay. And then in the afternoon, I go cycle again just to help free my mind. But cycling for dads is what we're doing, this fundraising for me to go from here, Baltimore, to Richmond and back. Okay. If I do 125 miles a day, I can do that with over 4 days, over a 4 day period. So I want you to think about donating to that and helping with that. Okay. I have my wife being my SAG support. Okay. Just to, if I want to change bikes or just stop and fuel up, get some electrolytes in me and keep it moving. Okay. This is a event that I want to get out there and for people to understand how we want to work for fathers, really. But that's all. That's my time. Only wanted to come on here to mention that, mention those things, and to mention building your dad brand, fathers. Okay, building your brand, not like you're selling anything, but you're selling yourself more to your child or your children. Okay, and if you have other children out there, you got to figure out the time how you're gonna split it, or even think about getting them together and doing something. Okay, the children need to know who their brothers and sisters are. Need to know who their cousins are. Okay, um, it's been real. It's been fun. Got to get off this and just try to get me straight now. All right. Y'all know how to reach out to me, 443-219-6939. All right. Others have my other numbers as well, but I'm gonna try to have a good weekend. Thank you.